Tia, before we get into it, how are you doing today? Obviously, we're in this bit between Christmas, New Year, you had your birthday. Two Queer was meant to be last night.
It was supposed to be in the Cossack Club, but there was a fire in
Hmm.
the House of Gods slash maybe Revolver. It's unclear. And the street was shut down. So, yeah, gutted to miss the final gig of the year. It was going to be a dynamite one. We had an all-female, non-binary lineup.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was Viv G headlining. So we just need to move everything into 2026 for the next two queers. And yeah, birthday was great. Birthday was fantastic. Turning 30. Only a mild sense of dread on the run up to turning 30. It was only the 2 weeks before. I was like, have I wasted my life? Why have I not been going to the gym? I've had the membership. Why have I not been using it? But other than that, it felt really nice and it felt appropriate for this period. As I guess I don't know what that means, but I guess it felt right to turn 30 on my 30th birthday. I don't have any other extra information than that. And yeah, today is good. It's been a very busy month, packed with work and gigs
Hmm.
and socials. So I'm really looking forward to have quite a chilled out January, much less travelling about and much more kind of staying in. How are you?
Lovely. Yeah, no, I'm good. Busy month too, surprisingly. So I'd love to say January's going to be quieter. It won't be, but
Okay.
we'll get there. So I want to get to know you a bit more. Obviously, most people that meet you meet a version of you on stage.
Mm.
But what's different between the stage you and you?
So I think the first thing to take into context is
Hmm.
knowing about my neurodivergency. So I've got diagnosed ADHD, suspected ADHD, autism ADHD
Okay.
combination. And with that comes a thing called masking, which
Hmm.
has been the kind of main focus of my life for the past 2 years, and was discovering what masking is, who does it, and finding out that I do it. So comedy and performing and being on a stage is in itself a kind of mask. When
Hmm.
you get up there, you're not really yourself. Like if you're, I mean, you can be, but if you're having like a really shit day and then you wake up and you walk on stage and you're like, "Hi everybody, I don't feel very good." Gone. The energy's gone. It's dead. So you need to get up, kind of. You can before it. You're like, Ladies and gentlemen, this is now you ready for the performance. And I was doing that on stage, which was fine, but I was also doing that in my real life as
Hmm.
well, which I didn't realize. So when you say that people that meet me see like a performative version, it's not only for the stage. People who've met me my entire life have seen a performative version because of the neurodivergency. When you then add on top of that the gender queerness, which I was masking, hiding,
Hmm.
repressing, that meant that there was a secondary version of myself that I was putting forward, but there was like another version like behind my eyes that even I wasn't aware of. So my whole work for these past couple of years has been trying to access that version of myself that's behind the eyes. And there's still, even right now, I'm like half masked. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a part that's a performance. So I guess that it depends who you are. If I've just met you after a gig, I'm going to be buzzed up. You're going to be buzzed up. We're going to meet
Hmm.
each other on that level. If you're my closest friends and family, you're going to meet me on a slightly different level. And it just gets kind of closer and closer and closer. So I forgot what the question is, as I will do many times throughout this interview. But I would say that the real me, I'm still discovering myself. And there's a few different layers of it to reach. But most days and most people, you're going to meet me about midway, half masked, half genuine,
Yep.
half. I yourself.
Um, no, that's lovely. So I guess this is a bit of a difficult one then. But if someone met you before comedy came into your life and before music and socials, who would that be compared to if they met you now?
I'm drunk, frantic, and restless.
Hmm.
Um, the Before I found comedy, I was an actor. So again, that lends itself to the
Yeah.
performativeness and putting on a show and every day, look at me, I'm having a laugh. Are you having a laugh? He's not having a laugh earlier, but we're having a laugh out
Hmm.
here. Um, so because I don't want to get too deep on things immediately,
No,
but it feels like it's
go
been
for
like
it.
reflective period. So the when I was a kid, I was quite shy. I was quite nervous and awkward, but I was also performative. So you would
Mm-hmm.
either catch me being really upset and overwhelmed by emotions, or you would catch me being like da 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 da, putting on a show.
Mm-hmm.
When I was 13 years old, I got my first ever job, which was an actor on the TV show River City, and that changed my teenage life because I went from just being a kind of weird, annoying wee guy to being a weird, annoying wee guy who was on the telly, which made made all the difference in the world. But then because of that, it meant that I became different versions of myself. So
Mm-hmm.
obviously I had the version of myself that was in school with my friends and with my family. It was who I really was. But then I had this version that I had to be for people, or had to be is a strong word. I felt like I had to be out and about in the world because I have this one very specific experience, and this is kind of like it's a bunch of experiences like summed up by the one. But I was like 15 and I know sounds daft, but I had homework that was
Mm-hmm.
overwhelming me. All right. I was overwhelmed by homework. And the girl that I fancied in school, we had started going out at playtime and then we broke up at lunchtime. And I
Oh.
cried for 2 days. All right. Figuring out the early rejection sensitivity. I was like, why does she not want me? Why does she not want me? So all this was going on in my life. And I was on 75 into the tune. And I met like a guy. He must have been like mid 40s. And he came up to me and he was like, you're the wee guy at River City. And I was like, usually I'd been like, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. But
Mm-hmm.
this day I wasn't feeling it. And I was like, yeah, but mate. And he was like, oh, is it good? Do you enjoy it? Do you like being, do you like being on the river? And I was like, mate, can I be totally honest with you? I was like, I'm having a really tough time. I was like, I feel like I'm never going to be able to finish all this work. I feel like this lassie doesn't fancy me back. I don't know what to do. And I don't feel really good, mate. Like I tried to confide in him, to connect with him. And I said, I don't feel really good, mate. And he went, so have you met Wee Bob then? Have you met Wee Bob then? Have you met Wee Bob in real life? And I realised there I was like, oh my god, he doesn't actually care about me as a person. He cares
Mm-hmm.
about the thing that he likes, and he likes the show. Which then meant that every time I met someone who was a fan of the show, I had to play the character of wee guy after telly. So I never really got to be myself. On top of that, we get the ADHD masking, we get the gender masking, and now we got to add on the fact that I'm trying to play the character of happy wee guy who's on the telly. And that was my main persona. I'm a happy wee guy. I'm a fun loving, happy having wee guy. One of my really close friends used to always take the piss out of me because we'd be drinking, and towards like, 1 in the morning, I'd be,
Mm-hmm.
sitting there and I'd be going, this is good. This is pure good. I'm having such a good time. And it was just like that was like the default setting of the mask was to be like, I'm
Mm-hmm.
enjoying myself. And he was, he's neurodivergent as well and kind of hyper aware. And he would be like, you always do this. And it wasn't until we pointed that out that there was a kind of inkling that I was like, oh yeah, this might be false. This might be a false persona. So if you'd have met me pre comedy, I would have been at like the peak of, oh, there's a cat. There's a tabby cat at my window. That's unbelievable. Oh wow. That's so nice. I know you can't see it, but it's got like a
Yeah.
really nice pattern. Oh, cool. I live next to like a forest, so sometimes you get foxes, deers,
Oh,
cats,
lovely.
squirrels every day. The squirrels trying to invade the house. That's such a nice cat. That's crazy. Okay. I've obviously lost my train of thought.
So good. So I can tell there's definitely a lot of layers there.
hmm.
So what's the kind of unpolished version of Tia? I know you're still trying to navigate the layers and stripping back, but
Yeah, it's it's less acting.
mhm,
So it's how do I really feel? How can I let that come to the outside? Because of the emotional repression, and a load of people do it,
mhm,
especially autistic people. They can just hold everything in, just really, just no feeling it. I'm fine. I'm fine. And then that's how meltdowns happen. I'm fine.
mhm.
I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm no fucking. Um. So, oh my god, there's a wee guy as well. Is the wee guy looking for the cat? Oh my god, there's a whole drama unfolding. Is it? I, I'm, I'm sorry. Give me two
It's all
seconds. I
right.
believe I need to help this. So it turned out that the child and the cat were unrelated, and I freaked the
Okay.
wee guy out by shouting at him. Yeah, he became very scared and put his hood up, and now he's just staring at me through my window. There's only been two humans that have ever appeared in the forest behind my house like this. So
Okay.
This is a very unique experience. But the cat and the Wayne, unrelated. And no, the Wayne ran away and the cats ran away. What?
It's a Monday.
It's a Monday. I lost all the days between Christmas and New Year. So the unpolished version of Tia is I'm just trying to be more authentic. I'm not going to be fully authentic, and I don't
Yeah.
want to be totally. My mask, is useful and it keeps me safe, especially if I'm overwhelmed by emotions. I don't
Mhm.
want to meet people and they go, "How are you?" And I'm like, "I'm fine, I'm fine." So I'm trying to let whatever's inside be reflected outside to a higher
Mhm.
degree. Maybe not 100% the degree, but a higher degree. And the other thing I would say is the calm. I'm
Mhm.
more calm now than I used to be. Not to say I'm totally calm or at peace, but I'm more calm than I used to be. Um, and there's an increased level of empathy. Before I didn't really care how people were.
Mhm.
Obviously to an extent, but when I was, especially in social situations, I just wanted them to be having fun. That
Yeah.
was main priority number one. I don't really care what else is going on. I just want you to have fun. And of course, I met loads of people that were like, "You're a dick," because yeah, my whole ethos was just, "Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go." And for people that are quieter, more reserved, or
Mm.
people with neurodivergencies, before I had the concept of that, they would be like, "This guy's far too much." Whereas I feel like with Tia, I'm like, "Oh, well, I'm like this. How are you?" And meet in the middle somewhere. So yeah, increased empathy and more honest reflection of emotions, I would say. Um, yeah, and dress better, 100% dress better.
So was comedy something that deep down you were trying to chase, or did that kind of choose you? Obviously, coming from acting and whatnot.
Mm. So the journey for acting was when I was 17. I got let go for River City, and it fucked me up
Mhm.
just because it like did it. I might be putting this on TikTok, so I'm going to redo that
Yeah.
for a non-swearing clip. When I was 17, I got let go for River City, and it really messed me up because I might just put both of them in. That's funny. Because it was my dream job. No, not even necessarily, being on the telly, being on a
Mhm.
soap, but being an actor was my dream job. And I had it, and I thought that was me. I thought I was going to be 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, maybe on River City, then off to do some films, then, maybe go to Hollywood and all this. So when I get let go at 17, it was a hard one because my family got wrote out because the actor that played my mum got
Mhm.
pregnant in real life. So they had to write her at the show so she could go and have a baby. So the whole kind of family got wrote out with the intent that the family would be brought back. So as I was getting let go at 17, they're like, look, I believe they used the term collateral damage. I mind
Right.
I'm like a teenager at this point. I'm like
Mhm.
an ADHD teenager. And this guy was like, we'll let you go, but we're going to bring you back. And I was like, oh, okay, no problem. So we wrapped for the summer. 3 months later, I'm waiting to come back and I don't hear anything. And I'm like, oh, that's weird. I better get my agent to send an email. My agent emails them, doesn't hear anything back. I am literally, not an exaggeration, I am waiting by the phone, waiting by the phone because this is everything. Not only is it my job, not only is it my dream, it's my personality. I'm the wee
Mhm.
guy that's on the telly. So if I'm not on the telly, what am I? Add into that the rejection sensitivity for the ADHD. It threw me. It really, really threw me. The worst it was is that nobody really knew that I had been let go. So I still had to go out in the world and have everybody go, oh, River City, the way I interviewed, is your brother, how's your brother? And I had to just keep this facade up, well knowing
Mhm.
that I didn't even have the thing that I'd put my whole identity into. So for that, I went to drama college. It was great. I met some of the best friends in my life. But I got kicked out of drama college because I couldn't learn my lines for the end of the year show. My ADHD was undiagnosed at this point. And
Mhm.
I remember one day the director, who was a lovely guy, and his wife would come in to help sometimes. I remember the director just being like, why have you not allowed you? Why? Like he couldn't understand it. He was so
Mhm.
frustrated. And even his wife was like, all right, like calm down. He knows. And he was like, no, he should know better. He should know better. And at the time, I didn't feel upset or angry at him. I empathized. I was like, no, I know. I was like, I should know better. I was like, and I want to. I tried to learn my lines and I just couldn't get them in because the focus, I wasn't able to focus on them. So I got kicked out of drama college. But I didn't have the same feeling that I did when I lost River City. I was just like,
Mhm.
okay. I remember the day they kicked me out and I was walking away for the college and I was like, this is all right. It's like, this is okay. I don't know why, but this is okay. It's going to be fine. I messed around a couple of jobs for a few years And then I was trying to get an agent again. So I emailed a
Hmm.
couple of people to say, can I get an agent, please? By the way, still never had an agent to this day. So I messaged a couple of people, and then somebody was like, would they're casting a play called Arabian Nights. And I was like,
Hmm.
I'm an Arabian. I was like, let's go. They were like, they're looking for acrobats. And I was like, I'm an acrobat. And they're like, really? I was like, yeah. I'd done taekwondo. I had a forward roll, a backward roll, a wee bit of handstand. And I went for the audition. And one of my friends at the time helped me with the singing part of it. And then I went for the audition, and they're like, so can you do some flips? And I was like, my knee's
Hmm.
giving me real jip right now. I was like, I would love to, but I just can't. And I ended up getting cast in the play. So I kind of bluffed it and managed to just about get by. The only time it didn't work is there was a part where I came out dressed as Sinbad the pirate. I
All
was
right.
meant to swing on a rope, but we couldn't get the health and safety. So I just ran out the audience and done all this stuff and jumped about on stage. And there was a bit where I was on my back and I had to flip up onto my feet. And there was like 400 people in one night, and I missed it. And I was like, oh, damn it. And I tried to do it again, and I missed it again. I was like, oh no. And I was like, this time. And I went all the way back, and I went up, and I missed it again, and just had to like stand up. And I remember seeing Brian, who was in the cast, being like that. And I was like, I'm not a real acrobat. I'm not a real acrobat. I also spilt coffee on my legs there. Incredible. So we would do Arabian Nights, and then we would do the bow at the end. You know,
Hmm.
all the cast come out and do the big bow. And it was in the Lyceum in Edinburgh. It was packed out. Some nights we were getting like standing ovations for hundreds of people. And when I was in that bow, I remember waiting for it to feel like something. I wanted to feel a sense of completion, or a sense of fulfilledness, or a sense of career satisfaction. But honestly, Kyle, I swear, every single time we did the bow, it felt like nothing. It felt like nothing to me. No sense of any joy. I felt obviously happy,
Yeah.
like to do the show, but there was no like, yes, yes, this is it. I was just like, hmm, hmm, hmm. So I was like, I don't think acting's for me. And it was Brian, the Brian for the previous story
Hmm.
2 minutes ago. He mentioned stand-up comedy to me. He was like, I've done comedy for a while. And I was like, huh, I might look into that. And I worked in a children's designer clothes shop for a while. Everybody always goes, "Oh, were you the model? Were you the model?" And I was the model for the clothes on the website for a while until I got too fat for the St Enoch food court, and I had a very small body but a big belly. And the boys were like, "We can't make you the model because no Wayne has a belly like this. You have a beer belly made up of McDonald's, Wongs, and DiMaggio's." And I was like, "No, this is fair, boys. It's time for me to get up the modeling career anyway." And worked in that shop, and there was a guy that used to come in called Aaron, and he was a guy who was working towards being a stand-up. He was in a wheelchair, and he was a stand-up comedian, which was made. How did they get into Yes Bar? Because Yes Bar was upstairs. Somebody must have carried them down. Anyway, I went to see one of his gigs, and then he was funny, and I was like, "This is good." I was like, "I should try this." And then I did a gig in Dram in the West End. I
All
actually
right.
think I got footage of my very first gig that I found yesterday. Let me see. Let me see if I can dig it out. If I've not done it in 40 seconds, we're going to get up on it. Give me a minute, give me a minute. 20 seconds, give me 20 seconds. No, no. And give me 10 mil, 10 mil.
That's all
I feel,
good.
feel like I can get it. And is it in the downloads? Is it in the downloads? Documents sent on this device. Let's go. Nah, nah. That's going to really annoy me because it would have been lovely to turn it around and be like, and here's the gig right there. Fuck, it's gone. I did my first gig in Dram, and because I'd already done all the acting, it
Hmm.
basically was just learning a 5 minute monologue, which isn't a lot. I think one of the things that throws a lot of early comedians is they've never been on stage before. So the
Hmm.
adrenaline, the heart racing, the sweat, and the eyes on you, it throws you, and it can take you a couple of years to get used to that. But people who have a performative background as a singer or an actor or such, they're used to being on stages, so they kind of skip the queue a wee bit. I got up there, I done my first set. It went well.
Hmm.
A wonderful story of Kavita, who is an incredible comedian and promoter, and we still work together regularly to this day. She was on after me. She was like, I'll go on after tea because they're new and they should be shit. And she always says that it's like when Owen and did really well, she was like, oh no, oh no. And Ronnie Black, who's a lovely comedian,
Hmm.
and gave me like a half standing ovation. And that sensation of, because the crowd laughing and that was fine. I was like, this was
Hmm.
okay. Seeing a seasoned comedian stand up to applaud me, I was like, oh, this might be something. This might be something. But I never really wanted to be a comedian. You know, I'd only got into
Hmm.
comedy to replace the buzz of the acting. And I loved Live at the Apollo. I loved Mock the Week. I always wanted to do them, but I never, I never loved jokes. I
Right.
was never like a joke writer. Some of my favourite comedy bits ever, Help by Simon Amstell, one of my favourite specials. It's basically just him on stage going, my life's a mess, and here's what I did to get slightly better. One of my favourite bits ever for Live at the Apollo was Phil Dupitus. It was just like a single 10-minute story that tied in at the end, and I was like, I love that. Stephen K. Amos, I remember having a big impact on me as a kid. When I watched
Mm-hmm.
Live at the Apollo, he came out and done like an African accent, and then midway through was like, "Can't keep it up, mate. Can't keep it up," and that blew my mind as a kid. I was like, "Whoa!" I was like, "What is that? Is that comedy?" So these people and these things had influences on me, but I never, I don't know. Do you know? I'll tell the story of comedian Connor Burns. You know Connor
Mm-hmm.
Burns?
Yeah, yeah.
Mate, great. We had a gig down in Liverpool in the kind of early days of our career, and we were at the kind of same pace. Like we started in the same places, we were at the same spot,
Mm-hmm.
and we drove to Liverpool back up to Glasgow, and we'd been on it the night before, and he was just showing me all these comedians. He showed me the comedians that he loved, and I remember him showing me Norm Macdonald, and I'd
Mm-hmm.
never even heard of Norm Macdonald because again, not a comedy fan, and watching him listen to Norm Macdonald and be like, no, no, wait, listen to this bit, and the way that it connected, I was like, damn, he loves comedy. It's like he is like an honest to God, like thoroughbred comedian. Like he
Mm-hmm.
loves this, he wants this. And I realized like they say comparisons no good and all that, but at that time I was like, oh, this isn't it. I don't love comedy like that. I did, however, know years later, in retrospect, I've always loved the science of performing. I've always
Mm-hmm.
loved the how can you make a crowd make noise, and that is my thing. But never like jokes. I've never been about tweeting the jokes and putting the word there and then I can't be asked with that. I'd rather a wrestling match where we'll put this bit here and then we'll slam
Yeah.
the man and then you can get up and then your leg can crumble for under you in the crowd. Whoa. So, um, what was the question?
So the question was just really what was the bridge builder? What bridged the gap? That
Yeah,
was it.
yeah, I think that covers it. And then for comedy, I went on to actually the place that I met Connor Burns is the same place I met the guy Jack who got me involved in the party bingo, and that was honestly the one of the biggest that had more of an influence on my performance than acting and stand up.
Yeah.
It was like 3 hour shows, and the audience was mainly God bless them, but like 25 to 45-year-old gals who were steaming out their nut on gear
Mm-hmm.
and ready to party. That was the audience. And it was 3 hour shows. And I was on stage for 2 hours and 45 minutes of that show. So when you're up there, that taught me stage performance and it taught me how to
Mm-hmm.
go, look at me, shut up, and look at me. And I had to keep that up. Lost my voice for years. Died so often. A
Mm-hmm.
bad gig that's 3 years long. Oh,
It's a long gig.
Jesus, big death. But then when you found ways to get them up when they were doing, it changed the way that like I think comedians always talk about reps, about like getting on stage and
Mm.
then your reps and then your reps with jokes and then your reps with gigs and putting it in. A show like that, like 3 hours on the Friday, 3 hours on the Saturday, 6 hours over the weekend being on stage, I worked on like internal energy reps. Like I had to
Mm-hmm.
get especially if I was on the Friday and I got drunked up on the Friday and then had to do another 3 hour show on the Saturday, I had to find ways to pull energy out of me. And that has like influenced the way. Now, whenever I reach a stage, I've got a routine, I've got warm ups, I've got
Mm-hmm.
systems, and I know how to dive in and like switch it on, and it makes all the difference. So yeah, those are the three: acting, stand up, party bingo. Those are the three things that built me to get to where I'm at the minute.
So looking back on where you are now, obviously going through the exploratory phase and trying to understand yourself, do you think going into leaving acting, going into comedy, and then onto party bingo and whatnot, did that really help you find this phase, or do you think this was always coming?
I would say acting helped me to survive
Mm-hmm.
because it taught me how to perform, um, both on stage and socially. Comedy helped me figure out my life story. So I didn't grow up with my dad. My dad was from Abu Dhabi. I had this family in Abu Dhabi. I didn't know if I came out, if they were gonna leave and like not allow me back to the family. So all that comedy helped me process all that. My first show that I did, Space Cadet, was just my 1 hour life story. I sent it to my dad. He sent me back a video of him crying. We connected, we bonded. Like I got to process in my head who I am, what I am, where I've been for. Comedy did that. Um, Part of bingo taught me,
Mhm.
authentic performance. But what actually helped me get here the most was psychedelics, therapy, and hypnotism.
Okay.
Take your pick. Take your pick. What one do you want? I can give you anyone.
We'll start psychedelics first.
We'll go psychedelics first. I never did any drugs when I was a kid.
Hmm.
My mum was very big. She was like, "Don't drink until you're older. Don't do any drugs ever." And I was like, "I won't drink until I'm older." When I go, I think the first time I ever tried, the first psychedelic I ever tried was acid when I was 18, and I had
Hmm.
a terrible experience. I thought I was going to die the entire night because I'd taken it when I was drunk, which was a terrible
Hmm.
system. I've obviously learned a lot since about setting, and obviously be careful with psychedelics. Do your research, all that good business. But I took acid, I was drunk, and I passed it. I was standing on my feet and I passed out. And when I opened my eyes, I was on the floor. And that obviously sent me into like a psychedelic spiral. And then it happened
Hmm.
again. I passed out and opened my eyes. And I was like, I'm going to die. And they phoned an ambulance out. And there's a lot of this in the show, out my banger in March. But they
Yes.
phoned an ambulance out and they were like, "You're fine. You've just taken acid." And I remember being like, "You're going to feel so bad when I die because you could have prevented it. And now I'm
Hmm.
going to be dead." And I remember lying on this couch for 4 hours and had just, somebody just put a blanket on me.
Hmm.
And I remember lying there just waiting to die. Like, and knowing like a way where I'm like, "Oh, I'm just on drugs at it." No, it was a 100%. I was certain that death was coming for 4 hours. And because I was under the blanket, I was sweating. So my ear filled up with sweat. And I was like, "Oh, that's my brain burst." I was like, "My brain has now burst and my ears filled with blood and I'm about to pass out and die." That waiting for 4 hours to like for my life to end had a profound effect on me. Because obviously I'd been scared of death my whole life, like everybody, but I'd just been ignoring it and putting it
Hmm.
away. I was like, "Ah, nah, 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 I did it." But this, I had to like face it and deal with it. And I was like, holy shit. That was the first experience. You would think after that that you would never want to do it again. But because of the world that I had experienced, another world under the world we live in that was totally different, that had energies and sounds and visuals and like information, I
Hmm.
couldn't wait to go back and explore it. So I took so many psychedelics throughout my 20s. Some with great results, some that fucked me up for months and took a very long time to integrate. But the main experience I had, I took acid in that same house where I thought I was going to die. And I looked in the mirror when I was at the peak of my trip. And when I looked back in the mirror, it was me looking back, but as a woman. And this
Okay.
was all new information to me. I knew that I was queer. I knew that I was like bisexual at the time. And when I looked in the mirror, when I saw myself looking back at as me as a woman, I felt better than I had ever felt in my entire life. And I'd stressed that in the show, and I'll stress that now. I had always felt uncomfortable, a bit fucking icky, never really good.
Hmm.
But when I looked back in that mirror, what looked back was me the same, but my eyes were different, and I was holding myself different. And the pains that I had in my shoulder and my belly that had plagued me my whole life were not there. I went downstairs and I said to him, I didn't say anything. My friend was smoking a fag in a house coat on the steps, and she turned around and she was like, "Are you a woman now?" And I couldn't believe it. I was like, "Oh my God." I was like, "Yeah." So the issue with psychedelics is sometimes you get like a glimpse into the future,
Hmm.
but then you need to come back. So that's what people get. They're like, "Oh, the craziness phase."
Hmm.
They're like, and you take psychedelics to be like, I'm a fireman. I'm a fireman. And you're running about the house trying to put out fires. And people are like, "You're fucking mental." And then 7 years later, you'll become a fireman. And people are rarely amazed. People are like, "Oh, I mind you thought you were a fireman." But it's like, bro, I think what they do is they get rid of so many layers that they can put you
Yeah.
to your like core. When you're at your core, you know what's true, but you've still got all the layers to work through. It doesn't dissolve the layers. It just
Hmm.
lets you have a peak and then you need to walk through. So that experience was like mental. But then obviously I had the layers built back up and I was like, "Oh, I'm just a guy." I was mental, man. Here, once I took acid and I thought I was a bird. All that. Then I got hypnotized to stop smoking by a guy called David. He's an amazing hypnotist.
Hmm.
And they put me under. They've done all this stuff with the fags. And then when I came out, I opened my eyes and I was like, I think I'm a woman, which is, no, since the acid is something that
Yeah.
I thought I just had a funny trip. And then after this experience, going under and coming out, I always love, my mum always says, like for years after, she was like, "That hypnotism fucked you up." She was like, "You were never the same for that fucking hypnotism." I love the idea, like, because of the psychedelics and the hypnotism, it like It was like, it got me. I would
Mm.
just have been a normal wee guy. I would just have been sound, but they got me with it. And then the third one was counselling. So I did a counselling course for a year, to like learn how to be a counsellor. And in one of the exercises, it was like a kind of meditation hypnosis where they
Mm.
would just kind of talk you through, close your eyes. You're on a street. Like, oh my God, there's a wee black dog. This has been the busiest day for the forest ever. Oh wow. Wee black dog with a red collar.
Oh, lovely.
Okay, bye, bye. I got put under and came and in that thing, it was like the exercise was like you go to a shop and you meet a man and he says you can take anything you want, and
Mm.
I took like inner peace, and they were like, but you must leave something. And before I even got a chance to think about what it was I wanted to leave, a voice inside me was like, this body. And then I felt like I watched like a Harry Potter dementor like fly off my body and into this cupboard that the
Mm.
guy had. And that's when I started to realize I had like body dysmorphia and I felt uncomfortable in my body. I'd never really known that before. I used to stare in the mirror for hours as a kid and a teenager. I didn't know what I was looking for, but I would
Mm.
just stare, stare, and stare. And then these experiences, I was crying for days after it, weeks after it, because it had just unlocked all this stuff. So all the performance stuff had kind of helped me hide or figure out things about myself. But the psychedelics, the hypnosis, and the whatever the third one was, helped to remove all the layers that I had built to keep myself safe, especially being for cast milk, especially being for a scheme,
Mm.
especially being neurodivergent, hypersensitive. I had to build so many layers, and all these experiences helped me just get by them. So I think the performance helped me hide, and then these experiences helped to break me down so that I can be honest. And now the performance is about explaining this to people. It's my full belief that so many is neurodivergent, queer, and we just hide it, repress it, and that's how we end up fucked up. That's how we end up addicted to alcohol, drugs, porn, gambling, bad relationships, whatever it is that
Mm.
people end up in. It's because we have a true selves inside us, like a deep core selves that we can't access because of all these layers. So we just need to numb, 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 numb. Fucking geese that Greg's, fucking geese that latte, fucking geese that series on Netflix I'm going to watch all day. And
Mm.
we just kind of face the thing. So yeah, I'm happy to be where I'm at now. I guess that's the roundup.
So, on the note of the performance now and what we just spoke about, do you feel like it's more intentional, or do you feel that you just show up as what you've got that day?
Um, it's more intentional. I am still, it's a comedy routine. So I've literally been
Yeah.
performing a routine for years, and it's hard to let that go. That in the early days, especially transitioning, I would be backstage with people and I'd be like, yeah, I'm going by Tia now, and I'm trying to kind of, change my voice a bit, and I'm wearing makeup and different clothes, and, I'm just trying to really kind of express myself as whatever feels right inside. And then I
Hmm.
would get up on stage and be like, what the fuck's going on, troops? You ready to have a fucking party? And it's took me so long to like kind
Hmm.
of pull that back and layer that back. So it's way more intentional now than it used to be. But there's still so many layers to work through. But I'm only in the first like 6, 7 months in my transition. So
Hmm.
I've still got like I like what's really weird is we should look back at this time right now at all the photos of me and be like, you look fucked up there. That you don't look like what you actually look like. It's mad that you look like that. The way I've been describing it to people, I'm like, it's like an unfinished painting. People are
Hmm.
coming into my studio and going, I love your painting. It looks fantastic. And I'm going, it's not fucking done. It's half done. I was like, give me, let me finish it and then tell me it looks good. People are like, no, it's amazing. It's amazing. And you're like, fucking just wait till it's finished. So yeah, in the process, still painting, still drawing, but it's getting there. I think I've got something actually that I can give you a wee flip through.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is a book. It's called The Facebook, and I started drawing it before I was transitioning. Just book of self portraits. So I started drawing it back when it was just a wee guy as it goes. The different versions of myself. But this is like new transition. I'm signing it as my old name, Tyrion Boy, and then as you go, it kind of gets more and kind of see the sadness, the mafia, the euphoria, and then eventually it reaches a point where it's like, okay, things will start to change, and then it starts to become kind of more feminized, starts to feel slightly different than it did before. And then get more and more until it kind of And that's the most recent one we're up to. That's number 4. Oh, sorry. That's the most recent one. I feel like if I continue this process on, and I if I continue this process on and keep drawing it and keep doing it, I hope that I'll have a visual representation for when people come to that book and they flick through, they can see, they can see
Yeah.
that it's I'm changing for me as well.
Mhm.
It's not that I know what's in here and I'm trying to get it out to an extent, yes, but for me it's a process. It's a literally
Mhm.
an ever morphing, ever moving process of trying to become authentic to what's inside.
Yeah. Every layer that you peel off, you might find something new. So,
Yeah,
no, I love the book.
onion. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so there, you just spoke a lot about identity being a big part of where you are now. Has doing that work and performing it, because obviously not a lot of people get to stand on a stage and talk about it, has that felt freeing or has it felt more weighty?
It's felt useful.
Okay.
It's felt useful. Um, I'm obviously transitioning in a kind of slightly public forum
Hmm.
because I get on stages and I go up and I tell people what's going on in my life. So it's been useful to be able to capture what I'm going through in the form of bits. I can do a wee bit. I can do a wee 2 minute bit that helps people understand exactly where I'm at because there's so much confusion and I feel like I've got a voice that a lot of people don't have.
Hmm.
Like the way that I encapsulate things and the relationship that I have to stories allows me to give people a look in to a perspective because they're confused. What's going on? What is going on with the world? What is going on with these guys and these birds that think they're fucking? And when I can go, oh hey, well for me it's like this, and they can laugh, they can be like, oh,
Hmm.
all right. And I feel like that speeds up people's process. Like you can
Yeah.
have somebody who's like transphobic come into a show and see all these other people laugh and feel laughed with all these other people and then be like, oh, I seen that wee guy that was dressed as a woman. It was quite funny. And that can shift mindsets.
Hmm.
So I feel like I love when like old men come up to me after gigs and they're like, I don't usually like, think this is funny and that, but you were all right, wee man. I don't know what's going on with the fucking get up and that, but you were quite funny. And I'm like, that is bridge building.
Hmm.
That is like rather
Hmm.
than being in Facebook comments, being like, you're a transphobic old man with no profile photo. I can just get to people and give
Yeah.
them the story, give them the realness of the story. And the more that it goes, the more I want to give the science as well.
Hmm.
Because the science of transness, I feel like, is madly not discussed at all.
No,
It's like a
not at all.
moral thing or a mental thing or like a choice thing. But I don't feel people will be like, well, scientifically, what is happening here and what's going on?
Hmm.
The best I can find so far is that there's so you've got estrogen and testosterone.
Yeah.
There's also a third one called androgens, and
Hmm.
it seems like people who are trans have a higher level of androgens in their system than people who are not trans, and also trans brains. So people who are trans, usually their brain is like is more shaped towards the gender identity they feel than the gender identity that they're born as. So there is actual scientific information going on here. I want to be able to give that to the world to be
Hmm.
like, hey, it's all right. We got misinformed. That's okay.
Hmm.
When we were younger, we get bad info. We were in the scheme. Why would we get the top tier gender information in the schemes? Why would that happen? We didn't get any other top tier information
Hmm.
except for the practicalities of getting on it. With that, you don't learn that anywhere better than in the scheme. That's going to teach you and patter and how's getting wide. These things
Hmm.
that is really we are top of that. All the rest of the stuff, not so much. So comedy allows me to reach people, and especially TikTok and stuff. That allows me to just be like, hey, this is what's happening. Relax, fucking relax, please.
So do you think there's a difference between being visible and being understood?
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes being visible can create lack of understanding and confusion, especially for people who. This is something I've been thinking about a lot recently. Has a lot of the people in my comments, you get some faceless profile photo that will say
Hmm.
something transphobic or whatever. And then people will come on, they'll jump on them and they'll start slagging them and arguing with them and calling them all sorts. But I think that like a good percentage of those faceless profile photos are like older men and women who were trapped in a system, trapped in a body, and never got to live the life that they wanted to live.
Hmm.
Like I always say, like, I don't give a fuck about the Mexican peso. I really don't. But if every time you seen me, I was going, the fucking peso's up. The peso's up. They said it was going to go down and it's went up. And like, do you pure love the peso? I'm like, no, I don't give a fuck about Mexico. I'd never even go to Mexico. But I'm just saying that fucking bit. If I spoke about the peso all day and
Hmm.
night, you would be like, I think you've got something, some connection to the peso. No, I feel like that's what people with transness and gay stuff, the people who are on the comments arguing about it and getting it fed to them, it's because they get excited by it. And I think the reason they get excited by it is because they're repressed or they're trapped.
Hmm.
Meaning that these people are LGBTQIA plus, meaning that they are us. They are not some other. For no, everybody, of
Hmm.
course.
Yeah.
There's loads of people out there who be like straight heterosexual and transphobic. That's of course.
Yeah.
But loads of these people, I think, will be neurodivergent people who were undiagnosed, or they'll be queer people who never got a chance to express. So the last thing I want is for people in my comments to be slagging these people. They've got enough going on. In fact, they've got so much going on that they spend their day commenting on forums to
Hmm.
argue with people. That's so fucking sad in itself. We don't need to be going through their profile and screenshotting things that they say and then putting it in the comments where they're just let them be. Let them be. So I can't remember what the question was, but yeah, I think that there needs to be more understanding, not only from people who don't understand queer stuff or neurodivergent stuff, but also from us on the inside to the people who are
Hmm.
outside. We need to be like, hey, this thing. Obviously, if somebody's gone about battering and murdering, we can't be like, hey, that's probably a trans man inside that serial killer. No, but there needs to be some level of empathy for everybody. But I did hear once that conflict is what drives progress.
Hmm.
So left, right, the right goes up, the left go no, the left goes up, the right go no, and that's what drives it forward. So if we're beefing, it means things are going forward. 20 years ago, nobody knew what the word trans meant. Now everybody knows what it means, and loads of people are angry about it, but at least they know what it means.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more with that. Often the loudest voices are the ones most misunderstood.
100%. 100%. Yeah. I think I heard about a trial they did, an experiment they did where they showed loads of people like gay porn and
Hmm.
scanned their brains, and the people whose brains lit up the most were like the homophobes, Nazis,
Hmm.
transphobes. It was the people who had the biggest problem with it that were the most stimulated by it. And I think that's why the algorithm feeds people who like to argue about it because they see it
Yeah.
and they go, I hate trannies. I fucking hate trannies because they feel some sort of, I don't know, jealousy. Like, God, I wish I would have got to do that.
Yeah.
I wish I would have got to express like that. And of course, that's a blanket statement. It doesn't cover everybody, but it at least covers a subsection.
So when you're writing or performing, is that something you've already understood or something you're trying to understand?
There's always a delay in what gets processed. So the things I
Hmm.
experience in my life, by the time it gets to the stage, it's usually been a bit of time, which is why you always end up, or why I always end up needing to do another show. Because
Hmm.
just as I finish a show, well, there's already been 6 months of new experiences to add on, to add, put into the show. But for Space Cadet, my first show, I wanted to understand my life story. It was for me. I
Hmm.
could tell other people and I wanted to be funny, but it was for me. Again, this is pre-transition. I was a Tyrion Boyd, Space Cadet was the
Yeah.
show. Then I thought I was non-binary, so I was T-Boyd when I did my show Mask, Mask. And that was, I just discovered about masking. I read Fern Brady's book, and she is
All right.
autistic,
Hmm.
and do you read it? You read it? Strong female
Yeah,
character.
I've read parts of it. Yeah.
Amazing, amazing. It's the term that fucked me up the most was half mask. Her therapist was like, "You can just half mask," and I was like, "It's controllable. It's on a controllable scale." That changed my entire concept. I then figured out that I was masking both gender and neurodivergency,
Hmm.
so I needed to figure that out. Mask was a work in progress. I wanted it to be a finalized show, but it wasn't. It was a work in progress because I was a work in progress. I didn't know.
Hmm.
I hadn't landed yet an identity. I was still figuring it. And what's really funny is the guy that filmed that, the audio for it was we didn't put a recording thing into the sound system, so the audio wasn't great for it, which meant that I couldn't use the clips. And at
Hmm.
first, I was so angry. I was like, I'm gutted because we could have put that out there. But now I'm like, I wasn't meant to be out there. It was a work in progress. I can go back and
Hmm.
reflect on it, but I would have released all that into the world without having figured it out yet. So sometimes the urge to share comes before the understanding. And I
Yeah.
think with the shows that I'm doing now, it's important for me to understand, for me to process, and then to share. But that all kind of happens at different
Hmm.
stages at the same time. But out my banger, the main takeaway for it is because of my psychedelic experiences and, meditative experiences, counseling experiences, hypnosis experiences,
Hmm.
because of all of that, I am tangibly different. If you meet me now, if you've not met me for 5 years and you meet me now, I am tangibly different. Obviously, I've got older and stuff as well, but so much of my personality is built off these experiences. And I know that so many is like depressed, go to the doctor, own antidepressants, still depressed 2 years later. So
Hmm.
the antidepressants didn't work. It is my belief that these psychedelic experiences, when done properly, so like I done ayahuasca with the Yawanawa tribes of the fucking
All right.
Amazon jungles. Yeah, it was an amazing experience. Feel free to ask about it. But I did that, and when I was in that experience, I was like, oh, this is not that far to take mushies in the gaff. This is not that far away. You need to
Hmm.
set the vibe right. You need to get yourself right. If there's fucking loud, scary music playing on the telly, you need to turn it down. Sometimes you need to open a window. It's the same experiences of connecting to nature, connecting to yourself. And I think the reason that people get so fucked up with psychedelics is because it brings up so much. It
Hmm.
brings up like quote unquote bad stuff. But if you've got something that's happened to you that's blocked you up for years and you take psychedelics and you need to relive it, fuck, I had to relive it. It was this horrible, terrible experience. But if you can relive it and then let go of it and you're freed for that block, oh, transformative, literally transformative. But I think people go into it without knowing that. They take it the same way they would take an eckie to be like,
Hmm.
this is going to be a buzz. And then they're like, oh no, I'm thinking about the time that my dad used to shout at me when I was a wee guy. I'm never taking that again. Just thought my dad was there for hours because it's the psychedelics being
Yeah.
like, you need to do this shit. You need to do this. So yeah, when out my banger, the message is like, we are not done figuring out how to heal. And
Hmm.
in 100 years, the shit that's happening now, especially like I think the terms we use for neurodivergency, the treatment that we have for
Hmm.
neurodivergency, it will be mocked. It won't even be like, oh, it will be laughed at. It will be like, can you believe this is what they did for autistic and ADHD and OCD people? Ha 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 ha. And I think psychedelics will be the link that helps us get to that next level of healing. It can't just be a wee pill of speed. There's got to be some element of
Yeah.
process. So yeah, sharing information.
So have you ever had a moment we'll use on stage, it could be anywhere, and you realized, say, mid laugh, that you didn't know how you actually felt after before saying it?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, I would say constantly. One example I have is that I was watching my show Space Cadet back,
Mm-hmm.
and when I was a kid, my mum had cancer, and I'd always been fine with the word cancer because I grew up around it. Also, it was my mum's star sign, which really confused me as like an autistic kid. I was like, "What does this wee crab have to do with the fact my mom's baldy?" It's like how are these two things related and on. But growing up, people would always like even the word cancer. People would be
Mm.
like shy away from it, and I never had that experience. When I was on stage, I was watching my show back after it'd been filmed, and I was like, so when I was a wee guy, my mom had cancer, and I went, it was fine for me. I had a fine time. There was no problem,
Mm.
and the audience didn't laugh, and I was like, oh, that was uncomfortable. And I looked, and I was like, oh shit. I was like, I must have some sort of repressed trauma running about the subject of my mum's cancer because I didn't make a joke about it. I didn't work on it as a bit. I just
Mm.
threw it in there to be like, I'm fine, I'm all right, I don't need to worry about it. And the awkwardness of that moment, the strangeness of that moment on stage showed me that I still had things to work through. And then retrospectively went, spoke to my mum. We had like a really long conversation. I've got it recorded somewhere. I'll probably do something with it. And she just kind of told me all about her experience and helped me understand it and it helped me process it for a kid and all that. So, but before that, I would have had no idea. I was like, I'm fine. I've always been fine. The word cancer doesn't even scare me. But if they'd seen that on stage, I went, oh, there's something here. There's something here that's not right. That's just one example, but that happens
Mm.
a lot. The things that you feel awkward about or uncomfortable on stage, is you're like, shit, I still need to work on this. There's a comedian that I seen recently. I don't even know if I can say this, but she was going through a divorce with her husband,
Mm.
and the first like month or two, she was going up on stage and she was like, I'm divorcing my husband. And people were like, yay. And they should be like, fucking, oh, fucking so, and audiences weren't laughing. And I was like, all right, they're still processing. Now
Mm.
it's been like a subsequent period of time and they're getting up stage and she's like, so I'm divorcing my husband and then right into bits and people are laughing. And I'm like, they've they go through it. They go
Yeah.
through it and they figured it out. So I think you need to leave a wee period of time for things before they become funny. But definitely when you're on stage, I think the things that audiences go, ooh, they can feel that you're stuck on something or that you've
Mm.
no process. I guess like that, and it's similar to psychedelics. That comedy can bring stuff up for you that you go, oh, I'm not ready to talk about that yet.
Yeah.
But then it can help you heal it, process it, and move through it. Mm.
So is there a part of you that you feel doesn't get enough airtime then? It doesn't need to be in comedy, just in yourself.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Just the kind of softer, the more feminine, the more relaxed side. Um, yeah, my body links being unmasked and being vulnerable to pain, shame, and death.
Mhm.
So it's a lot. It's a lot, especially up on these stages. Like, um, there's been many a times in my life that I've felt unmasked and then just cried immediately, because it's a part of myself that's been so hidden and so repressed since childhood. I think loads of people need to understand that. It's like, oh, sorry, that loads of people need to understand that, right? Something I wish that people understood
Mm.
more is that people like, they'll be in my comments and they'll be like, how do your family feel about your choices? As in, like, I decided to become like gender queer when I was in my 20s. Not it happened when I was in my 20s, but the repression of that part of
Mm.
myself started in childhood. For so many, I think we just push that stuff dun 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 dun. So now when I know what unmasking feels like, but like, if I'm unmasked with somebody and we're face to face and we're looking in each other's eyes and they like see me, the unmasked part of me, it makes me burst into tears immediately because I'm so scared and it's so raw and I feel so much safer when I can just
Mm.
that physically makes me feel safe. But to be like unmasked and like really like unmasked, that's what it was. The Wi-Fi was like, what was that? You've showed too much. Cut it off.
We spoke about Party Bingo, Too Queer. You clearly put a lot of energy into creating rooms and nights.
Mhm.
What's the story behind this? Where did this come from compared to being an actor, being a stand-up comedian? What does creating these spaces mean for you?
It's partly for me. So
Hmm.
like when I go into someone's house, I'll turn the big light off. I'll move a lamp for the kitchen into the living room. I'll light a candle. I'll tidy up a bit. And people hate it. People
Yeah.
hate it. They're like, stop touching my fucking shit. And I'm like, no, because your vibes are wrong. Your
Mm.
vibes are incorrect. I know that this is how you've left it, so you think it's right. But let me just, I'm gonna be like, just let me. And then I do it. And Kyle, I swear, never are people like, no, no, put it back. Put the lamp back. Turn the big
Mm.
light back on. People are always like, okay, you were right. Because I'm hypersensitive. So I can, because of the ADHD, I can feel so much. So if
Mm.
something's off with the vibes or the energy in a space, I need to change it or I'm not going to be comfortable. I'm going to be overstimulated. It's the same when you're tripping. You got to have the right environment. You got to have the shaman setting things
Mm.
just correctly. And it's the same for, I would say, even when you're getting on it, if
Mm.
it's 5 in the morning and everybody's still up, you kind of have the windows open and the light coming through, and you kind of be listening to classical music. You need to set
Yeah.
the right vibes for the right time. And it goes the same for performing and being on stages. The first moment I ever remember having an impact was we were doing a play in drama school. I must have been 13, maybe 12. And it was a play called World War Two,
Mm.
that the guy Dave Allen had wrote. Shout out, Dave Allen. I met him one day when I was doing home fundraising. And I was like, Dave. And he was like, T. And he's like, you still an actor? I was like, no, are you? And he was like, kinda. And I was like, great. I'm going to be an actor one day too. I don't think I've done a job since, but I was there. The plan was there. And we had this scene in the play where a guy came in and gave a letter to the soldier who died, Monda. And it was like a wee letter, and they passed it on, they read it, and their son had died. And it was very sad, and we were kids. And I remember in the rehearsals, we were in the theatre, Ramshorn Theatre. Habibi, the Ramshorn. How many does a Ramshorn hold? Oh my God. Oh my God. I got to phone the Ramshorn Theatre. No, right now. It'll be way. It's so easy. Hello, is that the Ramshorn? No, I just need to take a note. I'm looking for another venue to put my show on in.
Hmm.
Ramshorn, the first place I ever did a play. Wow, how
Yeah.
many? That'd be class. Out my banger in the Ramshorn. Holy shit! Right. Um. It was in the Ramshawn Theatre. And in the play, the guy just walked up and mimed it. So he
Mm-hmm.
literally just walked up and went, and then the other guy went. And I remember at like 12 being like, this is shite. I was like, get a bit of paper. I was like, some cunt get a bit of paper. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
what is going on? So I went and got a bit of paper and I folded it out and then I got black electrical tape and I marked the sides of it so that it looked like, like a serious letter. We just added that into the play, no question. Like people were like, oh yeah, pass that. Very funny. We'd all wrote in the letter, we'd all wrote stuff to throw the actor off. So it was like, lol, your son dead, and like he away, haha, and all this. So the guy opened it and it
Mm-hmm.
was like, lol, your son's dead, and he was like having to like pretend to cry. But having that influence on that and seeing that, I was like, oh, I was like, my ideas are valid. Like the things that I
Mm-hmm.
think about things can enhance them and make them slightly better. The issue that I've got or that I've had for the past period of time is I'm like, people don't believe me. People are like, we're going to do it this way. And I'm like, can you let me in to change it a wee bit and I'll try and improve it? And they're like, no, we're going to do it the way that we're doing it. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I understand that. I cannot wait for a time in my life where I go, can we try this? Can we try that? Can we try? Oh my God, has that said Tyrion Boyd this whole time? Oh my God. Hold on. Yeah. Yeah. Is that going to appear? God damn it.
Um,
I'll put a wee name badge at it. It'll be fine.
it shouldn't. I can change it if it does.
Okay, sweet. Bye. Hell yeah. Look at that. Transforming in process. Um, so yeah, for that play, I was like, oh, I can enhance things and make things better. Then for going into acting and seeing, how many people are involved. Props people, lighting people, sound people, and everybody does their own individual job, but you need a director that, kind of
Mm-hmm.
pull it all together. I always loved I've done a lot of self tapes with actors, like loads of probably between all that hundreds of self tapes that we done, and I loved taking them from a reasonable, a reading the lines performance to and going, hold on, pause there, because if you pause there, that's him processing it. I love that. That's something I don't actually do enough in my current career that I would love, love, love to do. Then gone to the party bingo, it was on a big scale. So you have
Mm-hmm.
hundreds of people coming into this room. Well, we can't have the big light on. We need to get the big light off and we need to turn the this down and all that. Sometimes, I'd overestimate it. I'm getting into hotels and, I've been drinking during the day and I was
Mm-hmm.
going, get the lights off, get that up, get that tablecloth moved. And then, the show was shit. And I was like, it made no difference. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
it made no difference. But other times, tweaks like turning the lights down at the start would that's all I did really, is turn the lights down,
Mm-hmm.
but things like that, it would change the entire vibe. And I was like, it's no difference whether you're doing it in a psychedelic setting, whether you're doing it in your own home, whether you're doing it at gaff, whether you're doing it on a stage, whether you're doing it at an event. It's all about the energy that people feel and the things that have influences on that energy. And I love looking at that energy and changing it and transforming it. And I'll always do that because it's in my DNA. After, after a period of being here, they'll be like, your house is very chill. And I'm like, I know, it was
Mm-hmm.
curated and designed that way. Shout out Carrie, my interior designer, who done a fantastic job on the place.
Lovely. At this point, what's the most exciting creative journey you're on? Obviously, we've got Out My Banger coming out, but what else are you working on?
If I go through it all, I'm working on Out My Banger. I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
take it to the Glasgow International Comedy Festival. Then, inshallah, we're going to take it to the Fringe. And then
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take it on a tour around Scotland. So, the good thing about the Party Bingo, I went to many venues all over Scotland:
Yeah.
Inverness, Aberdeen, Ellon, Arbroath, Galsby, Forfar. I've done all these places. So, I would love to go and take my own show this time instead of just going 5 and 5, 55, 5 and 2, 52. Kill me. I don't want to ever do it again, Kyle. I don't want to ever shout a number on stage again. I only want to be doing my art up there.
Mm-hmm.
So take that on tour. At the same time, I am working on huh, huh.
Your song's coming out soon?
Yes, yes. I'm making music. I've been making music with my producer Superman on the beat for years. He's been so patient. He
Mm-hmm.
was like, "Can you make music?" And I was like, "I'm not really a musician. I'm not really a comedian." And he was like, "Can you make music?" And I was like, "No." And then eventually, again, I taken LSD and I walked
Mm-hmm.
by Maneskin in the Eurovision Song Contest final, and I had such a rush. I was like, "Whatever that is, I want to do that." Which led me to writing Undeniable, which is the first song which is coming out this week. As soon as I can figure out how to release it online, they're saying there's problems with the file. We're gonna, as soon as I
Yeah.
figure it, that's gonna be it. So the live shows that I'm doing now, it's not just going to be stand up. There's going to be an element of music in it, an element of poetry in it. My great grandfather was the king's poet in Abu
Right.
Dhabi. So maybe not Abu Dhabi, but the general desert
Hmm.
region. So he would literally come out and they'd be like, perform, and he would do all these poems. And it was poems, but there was also like love ones and dramatic ones, but also funny ones. So he was basically like a stand-up poet in the desert. So
Hmm.
that's in my like genetics to follow that. My grandfather was the same. He just had all these poems in his head and he could just literally be like brrr and recite them. So I'm following that as my main like connection to my art. I love telling stories and I love doing jokes,
Hmm.
but I feel like they're so much bolstered by the music and the comedy. I'm also training as a wrestler, just on the side, one day a week. I just want to do
Yeah.
one match, and then I'm learning the electric guitar as well, which is I've not learned it yet, but I'm learning it to
Hmm.
enhance the shows. So we get the music, we get the comedy, got the wrestling, art as well. I'm going to be releasing my art. Do I have? I have. I think I might have. Hold on. I've been painting and making things for years, but I've been keeping them like secret and stashing
Hmm.
them away. So I'm going to be looking to put my stuff online. Everything that's on this wall will be purchasable, available online eventually. The main thing though is the shows. It's got to be the shows, and that needs to be the sole main focus. The secondary to that, I run an LGBT youth group at the minute, and
Hmm.
the work that I'm doing in there, I'm like, right, we need these everywhere. Every area, the way that every area has got like an AA meeting or like
Yeah.
a sports centre, there needs to be somewhere that queer and neurodivergent young people can go to be safe, be unmasked, and get informed about what's going on. Because the scheme ain't educating us, baby. The scheme
Hmm.
ain't giving us information. Going, that's fucked up. That's fucked up. And then all these people spend their life going, I'm fucked up. Of course they do, because that's all they got told. We need to
Hmm.
be giving information to young people about who they are, what they are, and letting them discover what feels right for them, as opposed to being told who they are and shaped and molded into all these depressed, addicted, numb people because they never get a chance to be free. So, as much as the performance and the art and all the work and the creativity is building, we need to be building that community aspect. There needs to be that community aspect because if I just go and do all this stuff and succeed and have all these go around the world and perform and
Hmm.
make all this money, I'll kill myself, Kyle, if I do not have that sense of community and that sense of connection. It's so many people get the success and it feels like nothing. And I
Hmm.
see it so I'm never chasing the success. I'm fully in my art, pursuing my work, need to be building that sense of community. So the long term big vision is I'll keep following that creative path and working
Hmm.
it away. But at the same time, I only got to do this because I was supported by my community. I was
Hmm.
put into drama classes. I came across mentors. I got given opportunities. There's so few opportunities for people to live and exist as a creative in the world, especially young people. We got to be changing that. We need to be changing it. And the way that we start is by just getting people together. If we can just get people together to go, hey, what's going on with you? What's going on with me? We can get rid of the rage and replace it with something smoother, kinder, and a bit bright pink. We'll find the balance there.
No, I can't wait to see all of this happening. So taking it back to when you first started River City, has your idea of success now changed?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Um, there is no end point. There's no end point. Um, it felt like it used to feel like there was.
Hmm.
Um, I still think to this day it feels like that was my biggest achievement, especially because I hadn't done anything before. Even though the other work that I've done, it still doesn't. It feels like it doesn't hit in comparison.
Hmm.
But what it showed me as a kid was that getting a dream and achieving a dream is like getting a dream job. It's still just a job. Like you need to go to work. People have this idea. If I was just a singer, I'd be
Yeah.
happy. No, you'd have shit gigs. You'd have great gigs. You'd have
Hmm.
incredible experiences, bad experiences. But if we can't even like imagine what our dream is, we're fucked. If we can't
Hmm.
even think about what it is that we want to do, the concept that's changed my life is the concept of the word dharma. This book here is called "The Great Work of Your Life" by Stephen Cope, and I recommend this to everybody. I read that and it introduced me to the concept of dharma, Dharma, and dharma is like life's work or vocation. It's the thing that when you do, like your whole fucking your eyes light up and you feel like you're in the right place and you can do it every day and night and you can tell when someone's in their dharma.
Hmm.
When you meet someone who's doing exactly what they're supposed to do, even if it's like hairdressing, They smudge, they're in it
Yeah.
and they love it. And then when people don't do their dharma, when they need to work in JD sports, it drains them and it
Mhm.
exhausts them. And this, like, I never thought I'd be here at this point in my life, but this fucking capitalist society doesn't give a fuck about your dharma. They just want you to work, like make money, like pay your taxes and all that. But it drains us. And I think so many people's life is, how can I survive my work? How can I survive the
Yeah.
drain that my work has on me? But if we can get people to find their dharma and find the work that they do that's going to light them up and spark them up, that's going to make you happy.
Mhm.
And the dharma is constantly changing. You can't just do one thing and that's it forever. It's constantly evolving. You could be an athlete, a runner. That's your dharma. You love to run. You do the Olympics. You do all that. You're fine. One day you're 55 and you
Yeah.
can't run anymore. But then maybe you become a coach, or maybe you
Mhm.
become a public speaker about something. I don't know. The dharma is always changing. So for me, success is being aligned with the work. If you're aligned with the stuff you're supposed to do, it's fine. And hell, that can be looking for the work. My first big period, like all my early teens, late teens, early 20s, was just spent searching. What am I? What do I do? What am I? What do I do? Even when I was a comedian, I was like, what am I? What do I do?
Mhm.
And that was the work. The work was figuring out what the work is. But we're conditioned, so conditioned, especially in schemes, to be like, I just want to get by. Fuck that. You'll never be able to get by if you don't have some sense of why you're alive. If you're just alive to live, that's how you end up.
Yeah.
18 Valium for breakfast because you get nothing. You don't want. You feel something in you that you're not letting out. You're not giving access to it. You just need to numb it down. So yeah, success for me is needing to numb less and be connected to the work.
Yeah, there's definitely something about once you find your why, work isn't work anymore.
Oh
It's just another day.
yeah, I spent all Christmas Eve editing videos, replying to
Mhm.
messages, and setting up a newsletter. Oh no, Christmas Eve, sorry, Christmas Day. I spent the
Mhm.
time with the family, and then I spent the night working because it didn't feel like work. I've been
Yeah.
fighting for like 15 years to try to make these things happen, so it does not feel like work. It feels like my dreams coming true. So I'd
Mhm.
never feel like I need to slog. I'm like, fuck yes, we're finally here. We're doing it. And I'm really glad I got to do it while I'm transitioning. I think if I had not transitioned and I'd just stayed a guy, wee guy, I'm just a wee guy, I would have went mental. I would have went absolutely
Mhm.
crazy. I would have been successful, all the things, I would have got all the things I wanted, and it would have felt like nothing. It would have felt like fuck all, and I would have become so depressed and angry. So I'm so glad that I get to have these progresses in my career and these developments in my life as I'm working towards being a more authentic version of myself.
So I've got a few quick fire questions for you, and then a
Right.
final question that everyone gets.
Okay.
So for your quick fire, what's the worst piece of advice you've ever had?
Um, Oh, the worst piece of advice I've ever had. Uh, work, work really hard at every job you've got. That is
Yeah.
ridiculous. If you go into a Weatherspoons and you give it 100% for 18 years, they'll move on and they'll sack you. They'll work
Mhm.
hard at the things you love. Don't just work hard at any job. Like work ethic in a place that doesn't care about you or a place that you don't care about is wasted, I believe. I believe it's wasted. I might be wrong, but yeah.
What's one venue that's an absolute must that you want to play at?
RIP, the Ironworks was incredible.
Mm.
I loved the
Mm.
Ironworks, and I had the moment where I felt like a superstar in the Ironworks. I was with a fire alarm had went off, and we all had to go outside,
Mm.
and we came back in, and with the big speakers, it was played "Industry Baby" by Lil Nas X. I told you long
Mm.
ago. I felt like an absolute superstar, and I was like, "This is amazing. I want to do this." It will be the Hydro to start, which is a crazy concept.
Yeah.
And back in the day, I was like, if I could only make it to the Hydro. And I'm like, no, we do the Hydro and then we need to go elsewhere. We need to go
Mm.
around the world. We need to take it places. So the Hydro's on the list. If I had to go anywhere, I mean, I guess Madison Square Garden would be crazy to do, or maybe one of the big Arab arenas, one of the crazy
Mm.
ones that is like gigantic. But there's nothing truly particular. For me, the one that likes my heart most, the Citizens Theatre. When I'm doing the
Okay.
Citizen, I thought
Yeah.
even to be an actor in a play there, I thought would be good. But no, I think we can fill the sets. I don't think it'd
Mm.
be too hard to fill the sets.
Do you have anyone that's an absolute dream to work with?
Jim Carrey,
Yeah.
would love to work with Jim Carrey if he remains alive. Chance the Rapper, if I could, if I can get on a feature, or
Mm.
if Chance can get on a feature, but that's one of the ones that it's like I'll be like,
Mm.
all the stuff that I say and all the ideas and the ideologies I've had and all that, it'll be out the window. I'll be going, yes, Jared. It'll probably be something like he sends me a verse and I hate it. I'm like, that's the verse he sends me. There'll
Hmm.
be a downside to it. But if I got chance working, I'll be, inshallah, we pray and manifest that.
What's your top three shows? So it could be stand-up shows, friend shows, whatever. What's your top
That
three that
I've
you'll
done or that I've seen.
that you've seen?
Help by Simon Amstel had
Hmm.
the biggest influence on me. Um, you know, gone to see Usher live at the
Hmm.
SECC when I was like 14, 13. That changed. I was like, wow, and I'm not even, I love Usher, but
Yeah.
just seeing that, all that with the lights, the dance, the choreography, the music, yeah, that was crazy. And then probably seeing Kendrick Lamar and the Hydro
Hmm.
because it seemed possible when I sat there in the pews looking at Kendrick Lamar, I was like, this is doable. Like,
Hmm.
yeah, he's got songs, but he's
Yeah.
walking and he's talking and he's got some choreography. I can do all that. There's nothing he's doing up there that I can't do. So
Hmm.
yeah, they would be the three biggest shows that had the impact on me.
We've mentioned wrestlers a couple of times. We've not really got into it. Who's your top
Feel
three?
lucky. Wrestlers of all time,
Yeah.
Rey Mysterio always number one.
Yeah.
At the minute, put me down for Io Sky being the best wrestler in the world. And then
Hmm.
just as a favourite, put me down for Pac, Adrian Neville in
Yeah.
WWE. I don't know, the way that he moves,
Hmm.
everything he does, an incredible wrestler. I would actually say he's underrated, even though people love him.
Oh
I
yeah.
think everything that he does is so smooth, and it has been for years. And I don't know. I think that Pac and Io Sky are my two favorite wrestlers to watch, and I love Ray, love him.
Hmm.
But when he's on new, I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
it's Rey Mysterio, but I'm never like, oh, it's Rey Mysterio. Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's my three.
So if comedy disappeared tomorrow, still what would you still need to express?
Public speaking would be the forum. I need to
Hmm.
tell the stories. I need to let people know about my experiences. I need to let people know the ways that so and to the year after I took that ayahuasca was one of the worst years of my life. Constant suicidal ideation, intrusive thoughts, OCD, all sorts of stuff coming into my mind. And I almost didn't survive. And I can totally understand why so many people that have been in that same experience have taken their life.
Hmm.
And I think that the reasons that people give for like the reasons that people are fucked up, I think they're just trying to make it for themselves. It was a drink. The drink goal.
Hmm.
No, no, no. There was way more before that, and the drink was an answer to it. So if comedy disappeared, I would still need to go there because I feel like if we obviously the information will come, but if we don't start getting better information, more and more people are going to die, and we're going to have no an answer for it. So even if it wasn't funny, I would still want to be exploring ways to
Hmm.
heal. Because the world fucks us up. Everybody gets fucked up, and we need to find ways to heal out of that. We're never going to get rid of the pain. We're never going to get rid of the abuse or the trauma that we all experience, especially growing up. But we can find ways to heal ourselves, and I think that needs to be the focus of a society.
So we've got a closing question. Everyone gets asked this. Everyone I interview leaves a message for the next person.
Mm.
I'm my last one to pass this on.
Okay.
Open up from the inside and express your fears. So without knowing who's next,
Yeah.
what would you like to pass on to them? It
Um.
can be a question, it can be advice, something you live by.
Okay. Let me think about that. For the next person that's on, ask them when they were a kid, what is
Hmm.
something they did that used to light up their soul?
It's
I ask
beautiful. I
people
like
that. I ask people that all the time, especially when they don't know what to do for work. I'm like,
that.
what was
Hmm.
the first things that lit you up? And often people will say it and then give you reasons as to why they couldn't do that for their work now in their life. But I think it's a good place to start. If you don't know what it is you want to do, or you want to figure out your dharma, or you want to figure out your career, start with when you were a child. What were the first things that you were drawn to?
Thank you so much for this.
Thank
It
you for
was
this.
beautiful.
This has been my favorite interview of the year. 100%.